The author says, may Allah have mercy upon him, وَالْإِيمَانُ بِنَعِيمِ الْقَبْرِ, and belief in the bliss of the grave. فإنه صلى الله عليه وسلم أخبر بذلك أيضا. For indeed, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم told about that also. ومنه توسيع القبر 70 ذراعا في 70 ذراعا. It includes the expansion of the grave 70 cubits by 70 cubits. على المؤمن التقي, for the God-fearing believer. ومن شاء الله له من غير الأتقياء, and anyone else whom Allah willed for him, even if he weren't one of the God-fearing. كبعض شهداء المعركة, like some battlefield martyrs. ممن استشهدوا, amongst those who were martyred. ولم يكونوا أتقياء, but they were not God-fearing. Subhanallah, that's one of the motivators to fight in the jihad, that one would be a sinful Muslim. He fears for himself. So he knows that if he goes to fight in the jihad and he dies, Allah will forgive him. وَبَعْضُ النَّاسِ يَتَّسِعُ قَبْرُهُمْ مَدَّ الْبَصَرِ, and some people, their graves widen the extent of the eye, as far as the eye can see. وَمِنْهُ تَنْوِيرُهُ بِنُورٍ يُشْبِهُ نُورَ الْقَمَرِ لَيْلَةَ الْبَدْرِ, and it also includes the illumination of the grave with a light that is comparable to the light of the full moon. وَغَيْرُ ذَلِكَ كَشَمِّ رَائِحَةِ الْجَنَّةِ, and other things like smelling the fragrance of the garden. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِسُؤَالِ الْمَلَكَيْنِ مُنْكَرٍ وَنَكِيرٍ, and belief in the interrogation of the two angels, Munkar and Nakir. وَهُوَ يَحْصُلُ لِلْمُؤْمِنِ وَالْكَافِرِ, it happens to the believer and the disbeliever. مِنْ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ, from this nation of Muhammad, أي الذين أرسل إليهم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم, meaning those to whom Muhammad was dispatched. May peace and blessings be upon him. وَيُقَالُ لَهُمْ أُمَّةُ الدَّعْوَةِ, they are called the nation of the call. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْهُمْ يُقَالُ لَهُمْ أُمَّةُ الْإِجَابَةِ, and those who believed from amongst them are called the nation of response. So we have a reference for those two names in Fath al-Bari. ثم المؤمن الكامل لا يلحقه فزع ولا انزعاج من سؤالهما. Furthermore, the excellent believer is not caught by any fright nor bother by their asking him. لأن الله يثبت قلبه, because Allah will make his heart firm. فلا يرتاع من منظرهما المخيف, therefore he will not be frightened by their scary appearance, or he will not be scared by their frightening appearance. لأنهما كما جاء في الحديث أسودان أزرقان, because they are, as it came in the hadith, blue black. I think this translates as navy blue, very dark blue, almost black. بل يفرح المؤمن برؤيتهما وسؤالهما. In fact, the believer is happy about seeing them and being questioned by them. يسألانه, they ask him, Man Rabbuk, who's your Lord? وَمَن نَبِيُّكَ, and who's your prophet? وَمَا دِينُكَ, and what is your religion? فيقول المؤمن الله ربي ومحمد نبيي والإسلام ديني. Then the believer will say, Allah is my Lord, and Muhammad is my prophet, and Islam is my religion. ويستثنى من هذا السؤال الأنبياء والطفل وشهيد المعركة. Excluded from this interrogation are the prophets and the prepubescent children and the battlefield martyr. وَالْمُرَادُ بِالطِّفْلِ مَنْ مَاتَ دُونَ الْبُلُوغِ. The intent by the طفل is who died before puberty. وروي أنه يستثنى أيضا من مات ليلة الجمعة أو يومها. And it was also reported that excluded from this questioning also is anyone who died on Friday night or the day of Friday. It says here, it's in the Musannaf of Abdul Razzaq. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالْبَعْثِ, and belief in resurrection. وَهُوَ خُرُوجُ الْمَوْتَى مِنَ الْقُبُورِ بَعْدَ إِعَادَةِ الْجَسَدِ. It is the dead's exiting from the graves after the restoration of the body. الَّذِي أَكَلَهُ التُّرَابُ, that body that was devoured by the soil. إِن كَانَ مِنَ الْأَجْسَادِ الَّتِي يَأْكُلُهَا التُّرَابُ, if it were amongst the bodies that are devoured by the soil. وهي أجساد غير الأنبياء وشهداء المعركة. Those are the bodies of other than the prophets and the battlefield martyrs. وكذلك بعض الأولياء لا يأكل التراب أجسادهم. And also some of the saints, the soil does not consume their bodies. لما تواتر من مشاهدة ذلك, as proven by successive mass reports of what was witnessed about that. ومنهم عبد الله بن عمرو والد جابر وكثير غيره من السلف. Amongst them is Abdullah, the son of Amr, the father of Jabir, and many others from the Salaf. وَمِمَّنْ بَعْدَ السَّلَفِ, and even some who are after the Salaf. كَالْحَافِظِ أَبِي عَمْرِ بْنِ الصَّلَاحِ, like Hafiz ibn al-Salah. He's the Shaykh of Mustalah. فَقَدْ حَدَّثَنِي الشَّيْخُ سُهَيْلٌ الزَّبِيبِي عن عبد العال. So my copy, Abdul Muta'al. That's how I read it. So it looks like they fixed it. عن عبد العال الدمشقيين. Sheikh says, like what Sheikh Suhail Az-Zabibi told me from the route of Abdul Al, both of them from Damascus. أنه شاهد جثة الحافظ ابن الصلاح صحيحة, that he witnessed, he observed the corpse of Hafiz ibn al-Salah intact. لم يتغير منها شيء, nothing about it changed. وقد مضى على وفاته أكثر من 800 سنة, and there had passed since his death more than 800 years. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالْحَشْرِ, and believing in the gathering or the assembly or the herding. وَهُوَ أَنْ يُجْمَعُوا وَيُسَاقُوا بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ إِلَى الْمَحْشَرِ, which is for those resurrected ones to be gathered, collected, and then driven after that to the gathering place. وَقَدْ وَرَدَ أَنَّهُ الشَّامُ, and it was reported that that place is the Levant, but it's the reformed earth though. ثم ينقلون عند دك الأرض إلى ظلمة عند الصراط. So it looks like that's before it's reformed. Then they are transported when the earth is leveled to a darkness at the bridge. ثم يعادون إلى الأرض المبدلة. Then they shall return to the reformed earth. فيكون الحساب عليها, and then the judgment will take place on the reformed earth. So that's a good review from you there. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالْقِيَامَةِ, and belief in resurrection day. وَأَوَّلُهَا مِنْ خُرُوجِ النَّاسِ مِنْ قُبُورِهِمْ, its beginning is from the people exiting their graves. إِلَى اسْتِقْرَارِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ إِلَى اسْتِقْرَارِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ وَأَهْلِ النَّارِ فِي النَّارِ, until the people of the garden settle in the garden and the people of the fire settle in the fire. وقد تطلق الآخرة على ذلك وعلى ما بعده إلى ما لا نهاية له. And the term al-akhirah, the afterlife, could be used to refer to that, and also to refer to what is after that forever and ever. وَيَوْمُ الْقِيَامَةِ هُوَ يَوْمُ يَفْنَى فِيهِ مَنْ عَلَى وَجْهِ الْأَرْضِ. And resurrection day, it is the day in which everyone who's on the face of the earth shall perish. وَتُدَكُّ هَذِهِ الْأَرْضُ دَكًّا بَعْدَ نُشُورِ الْمَوْتَى مِنْهَا. Then this earth shall be leveled after the dead come forth from it. وَهَذِهِ الْجِبَالُ تَصِيرُ غُبَارًا نَاعِمًا, and these mountains shall become fine dust. كَمَا قَالَ تَعَالَى, just as the Exalted said, وَتَرَى الْجِبَالَ تَحْسَبُهَا جَامِدَةً وَتَرَى الْجِبَالَ تَحْسَبُهَا جَامِدَةً وَهِيَ تَمُرُّ مَرَّ السَّحَابِ. And you shall see the mountains, deeming them solid, and then they shall blow away like the clouds. إِلَّا مَا كَانَ مِنْ جَبَلِ أُحُدٍ, except Mount Uhud. فَإِنَّهُ يُنْقَلُ إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ, for indeed it shall be transported to the garden. وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ تَتَشَقَّقُ وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ تَتَشَقَّقُ, and the heavens shall crack. وَالْبِحَارُ تَشْتَعِلُ نَارًا, and the oceans shall be lit ablaze. ثُمَّ بَعْدَ أَن تُبَدَّلَ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَهَا فَتَكُونُ قَاعًا مُسْتَوِيَةً كَالْأَدِيمِ الْمَمْدُودِ. Then, after the earth is reformed, it shall become a single continent, a flat continent. كَالْأَدِيمِ الْمَشْدُودِ, like stretched skin. لا يوجد فيها جبال we had, there shall not be on the earth mountains nor valleys. يعيد الله البشر إليها ويقضي بينهم. Allah will return the humans back to this reformed earth and then judge between them. So, there's something here. Just one thing that I want clarity here. So he says, Resurrection Day is the day when all the people who are on the face of the earth perish. So when is that? That's going to be when the angel blows his horn. Okay, so that means in this dunya, when the angel blows his horn, there's people on earth, the angel blows his horn, their hearts will burst in their chests, and then heavens and earth will shatter. On the other hand, he says Resurrection Day starts when the people come out of their graves. So I just need that clarified. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالْحِسَابِ, and belief in the reckoning. وَهُوَ عَرُضُ أَعْمَالِ الْعِبَادِ عَلَيْهِمْ. That is the presentation of the slave's deeds. That is for the slave's deeds to be presented to them. يُعْرَضُ عَلَيْهِمْ مَا عَمِلُوا فِي الدُّنْيَا. Presented to them shall be whatever they did in the earthly life. وَالثَّوَابُ وَالْعَذَابُ, and reward and punishment or torture. أَمَّا الثَّوَابُ, as for reward, فهو الجزاء الذي يجزيه الله المؤمن في الآخرة. It is the payment that Allah pays to the believer in the afterlife. على العمل الصالح مما يسره. For the righteous deeds that he performed, it is the payment that pleases him. مِمَّا يَسُرُّهُ, among what pleases him, goes back to يُجْزِيهِ اللَّهِ. So the reward is the payment that Allah pays the believer in the afterlife that pleases him, the payment that pleases the believer in the afterlife for the righteous deeds that he performed. وَأَمَّا الْعَذَابُ الْأُخْرَوِيُّ, and as for the torture of the afterlife, فَهُوَ مَا يَسُوءُ الْعَبْدَ ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمِ, that is what troubles the slave on that day. مِن دُخُولِ النَّارِ وَمَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ, whether the entrance into the fire and what is less than that, مِنَ الْعُقُوبَاتِ, of various punishments. كَوَطْءِ بَعْضِ الْبَهَائِمِ بِأَقْدَامِهَا مَنْ كَانَ لَا يُزَكِّيهَا فِي الدُّنْيَا, like some of the animals stepping upon those who did not pay them in zakah in the earthly life. They didn't pay their camels, cattle, sheep, or goats in zakah, so then they would be stepped upon. لِأَنَّ هَذَا يَكُونُ فِي الْقِيَامَةِ, because this will happen on Resurrection Day. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالْمِيزَانِ, and believing in the scale or the balance. أي ما يوزن عليه أعمال العباد, meaning that upon which the deeds of the slaves are weighed. وَالَّذِي يَزِنُ الْأَعْمَالَ جِبْرِيلُ وَمِيكَائِيلُ وَالَّذِي يَزِنُ الْأَعْمَالَ جِبْرِيلُ وَمِيكَائِيلُ. And the weighers of the deeds are Gabriel and Michael. وَالَّذِي يُوزَنُ هُوَ صَحَائِفُ الْأَعْمَالِ. And that which is weighed is the pages of the deeds. So that's what Sheikh says there, out of sayings. He said it with definitiveness. وَقِيلَ الْمَوْزُونُ الْحَسَنَاتُ وَالسَّيِّئَاتُ. And it was said that what is weighed are the very good deeds and bad deeds themselves. Meaning they would be transformed into some sorts of bodies and then put into the pans. فَالْكَافِرُ لَيْسَ لَهُ حَسَنَاتٌ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. The blasphemer shall not have any good deeds on Resurrection Day. إِنَّمَا تُوضَعُ سَيِّئَاتُهُ فِي كَفَّةٍ مِّنَ الْكَفَّتَيْنِ. Merely his bad deeds shall be put in one of the two pans. وَأَمَّا الْمُؤْمِنُ فَتُوضَعُ حَسَنَاتُهُ فِي كَفَّةٍ. As for the believer, his good deeds will be put into a pan. وَسَيِّئَاتُهُ فِي الْكَفَّةِ الْأُخْرَى. And his bad deeds will be put in the other pan. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالنَّارِ. And belief in the fire, with a capital F. أي جهنم, meaning the pit of hell. أي بأنها مخلوقة الآن, meaning that we must believe that it is presently created. ولا يزال باقية إلى ما لا نهاية له. And it shall never cease to remain forever. هذا مذهب أهل الحق. This is the school or the way or the position, this is the belief of the people of the truth. وَلَيْسَ الْأَمْرُ كَمَا يَقُولُ ابْنُ تَيْمِيَةَ. And the matter is not as Ibn Taymiyyah says, إِنَّهَا تَفْنَى لَا يَبْقَى فِيهَا أَحَدٍ. That hell shall go out and none shall remain therein. وَقَدْ قَالَ قَبْلَ ذَلِكَ فِي كِتَابِهِ مِنْهَاجِ السُنَّةِ النَّبَوِيَّةِ. And prior to that, he had said in his book, The Curriculum of the Prophetic Way, اتفق المسلمون على بقاء الجنة والنار. The believers, the Muslims have agreed to the everlastingness of the garden and the fire. وخالف في ذلك جهم بن صفوان. And Jahm ibn Safwan dissented in that issue. فَكَفَّرَهُ الْمُسْلِمُونَ. And so the Muslims charged him with blasphemy. Intaha, end quote. The end of Ibn Taymiyyah's quote. هذا ما ذكره في كتابه منهاج السنة النبوية. This is what he mentioned in his book, The Curriculum of the Prophetic Way. ثم قال بعد ذلك النار تفنى. Then after that, he said that the fire goes out. ولا يبقى فيها أحد. And no one shall remain therein. فكما كفر هو جهما لقوله بأن الجنة والنار تفنيان. So just as he deemed Jahm as a blasphemer for saying that the garden and the fire perish, يكفر هو لقوله بفناء النار. He then is charged with blasphemy for saying that hell vanishes or perishes. لأنه تكذيب للنص القرآني, because it is a contradiction of the Quranic text. قال الله تعالى, said Allah, exalted is He, إن الله لعن الكافرين وأعد لهم سعيرا خالدين فيها أبدا لا يجدون وليا ولا نصيرا. The 64th and 65th verses of Surah Al-Ahzab. Surely Allah damned or cursed the blasphemers, and He prepared for them an inferno. Forever therein and ever shall they dwell, without finding a patron or a defender. كذب هذه الآية خالدين فيها أبدا. He contradicted this verse. They shall be immortal in hell forever and ever. I mean, being tortured there. Immortal meaning not dying. They will stay there forever. وللإمام السبكي رد على ابن تيمية سماه الاعتبار ببقاء الجنة والنار. And Imam As-Subki has a refutation of Ibn Taymiyyah that he named regarding the everlastingness of the garden and the fire. I once had a Microsoft Word document of this book. As I remember, it wasn't very long, and Allah willed for me not to get around to it, because I was going to, if it wasn't too difficult, I was going to translate it. So if anyone comes across that, shoot it my way, please. جهنم دار العذاب المقيم للكافرين. Hell is the abode of everlasting torture for the blasphemers. لا يخرجون منها أبدا. They shall never escape it. They shall never exit it. وأما بعض العصاة, and concerning some of the sinful Muslims, فَيُعَذَّبُونَ فِيهَا بُرْهَةً. They shall be tortured therein for a time. ثُمَّ يَخْرُجُونَ مِنْهَا, and then they shall exit it. وَمَا يَذْكُرُهُ بَعْضُ الْمُنْتَسِبِينَ لِلتَّصَوُّفِ مِنْ أَنَّ الْكُفَّارَ يَتَلَذَّذُونَ بِالنَّارِ. And what some who are affiliated with Sufism have mentioned, yani the pseudo-Sufis, that the blasphemers shall enjoy in hell. وَلَا يَرْضَوْنَ الْخُرُوجَ مِنْهَا, and they do not accept to leave. فَهُوَ بَاطِل, that is falsehood. في الشام كان رجل يقال له الشيخ يحيى الصباغ. In the Levant, there was a man called Sheikh Yahya Sabbagh. أهل الشام كانوا يعتقدونه. The people of the Levant used to believe in him as a saint. كان يدعي التصوف. He used to claim Sufism. قال ذات يوم في مجلس. One day, he said in a session, وَكُنَّا ستة أنفس تقريبا, and we were about 6 people approximately. هل فينا غريب? Is there a stranger amongst us? أحكي لكم شيئا. I will tell you something. أهل النار يتلذذون بها بحيث لا يرضون أن يخرجوا منها. The people of the fire enjoy in there such that they do not accept to come out of there. هذا الرجل والعياذ بالله. This man, and refuge is sought with Allah. كان إذا لقيه شخص في الطريق. If a person would encounter him in the street, فأقبل عليه, and then would come to him, يضع إصبعه في صدره أو بطنه. He would put his finger on that person's chest or in his stomach. ويقول لا تخف أنت فيك الله. And he would say to that person, fear not, God is within you. ومع ذلك أهل دمشق كانوا يعتقدونه. Despite that, the people of Damascus were believing in him as a saint. So that's ignorance. That's the widespread ignorance amongst Muslims. So many people are, for some reason, thinking that the Muslims are not ignorant about their religion today. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالصِّرَاطِ, and belief in the bridge. وَهُوَ جِسْرٌ يُمَدُّ عَلَى ظَهْرِ جَهَنَّمَ. It is a bridge that extends over the face of hell. Yani, over the surface of hell. I mean, like, you know how you would say the surface of the water? So it's like that. The fire, hell has a depth, has a bottom, and it has fire. And so that fire, there's just like the ocean has a depth and it has water in it, and there's the surface of the water or the face of the water. So hell has a depth and there's fire in it, and there's the face of that fire or the surface of that fire. So this bridge goes over the surface of hell. That's what I mean when I say the surface of hell. Or else, ظهر على ظهر جهنم. ظهر means the back of Jahannam. فَيَرِيدُهُ النَّاسِ, the people shall come to this bridge. أَحَدُ طَرَفَيْهِ فِي الْأَرْضِ الْمُبَدَّلَةِ. One of its ends is on the reformed earth. وَالطَّرَفُ الْآخَرُ فِيمَا يَلِي الْجَنَّةِ. And the other end is next to the garden, yani before getting to the garden, meaning it stops at the land of paradise, because paradise has its own land. So hell has its own land. In Arabic, you'd say ard. So it has its own land, and paradise has its own ard, its own land. And this earth, the people will be on it. The bridge goes from the reformed earth to the land of paradise. Ba'd an-nar, after the fire. Yani, it goes from the earth to the land of paradise, and hell is under it. فَيَمُرُّ النَّاسُ فِيمَا يُثَامِتُ الصِّرَاطُ. And the people shall pass over this bridge, parallel to it, yani over it. فَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ فِي ذَلِكَ عَلَى قِسْمَيْنِ. The believers concerning this are of two divisions. قِسْمٌ لَا يَدُوثُونَ الصِّرَاطُ. One division don't even step upon the bridge. إِنَّمَا يَمُرُّونَ فِي هَوَائِهِ طَائِرِينَ. Rather, they will pass in its air, flying. وَهَؤُلَاءِ يَصْدُقُ عَلَيْهِمْ أَنَّهُمْ وَرَدُوهَا. And those people who fly over the bridge without stepping on it, it is true about them that they waraduha, that they come to it, and it here is hell. Pronoun here, ha, refers to hell. Just the only thing is that he didn't mention hell in this paragraph. So someone might not know what he's talking about there. Where's that pronoun? That feminine pronoun refers to hell. Yani, come to hell, that they come to hell. لِأَنَّهُ لَيْسَ مِنْ شَرُطِ الْوُرُودِ الْمَذْكُورِ فِي الْقُرْآنِ. Because it's not a condition for the wurud, the coming, the approaching that's mentioned in the Quran. بقوله تعالى, when Allah said, وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا, there is not one of you, there is not any of you, but that he shall come to it, come to hell. دخولها, entering it. Yani that entering the hell is not a condition of the wurud that's mentioned in the Quran. وَقِسْمٌ يَدُوثُونَ, and another group, category, they step upon the bridge. Masculine pronoun came back. ثُمَّ هَؤُلَاءِ قِسْمٌ مِّنْهُمْ يُوقَعُونَ فِيهَا, then those, a group of them, are made to fall into it. وَقِسْمٌ يُنْجِيهُمُ اللَّهُ فَيَخْلُصُونَ مِنْهَا, and a category, Allah will save them and they will be spared from it. وَهُوَ دَحْضٌ مَزَلَّةٌ, and it is slippery, unstable. معناه لا يثبت عليه الأقدام, meaning that the feet are not firm upon it. Unless, meaning it is smooth. وهو مخوف من شدة صعوبته, and it is frightening from the intensity of its difficulty. قال بعض الصحابة عن الصراط, some companions said about the bridge, بلغنا أنه أحد من السيف وأدق من الشعرة. Yani, it reached us that it is sharper than a sword and finer than a hair. Even though Alif Lam is there, I find the translation indefinite to be more appropriate. وَالْمُرَادُ بِذَلِكَ وَصْفُ خَطَرِهِ وَالْمُرَادُ بِذَلِكَ وَصْفُ خَطَرِهِ, and the intent by that is describing its danger. Yani, it shouldn't be literal. وَهُوَ فِي الْحَقِيقَةِ لَيْسَ دَقِيقًا كَالشَّعْرَةِ, and in reality, it is not as fine as a hair. إِنَّمَا هُوَ عَرِيضٌ, rather it is wide, it is broad. لَكِنَّهُ شَيْءٌ مُخَوِّفٌ, rather, or however, though it is something frightening. يُخَافُ الْإِنْزِلَاقُ مِنْهُ لِأَنَّهُ أَمْلَسٌ, it is feared to slip from it because it is smooth. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالْحَوْضِ, and belief in the basin. وَهُوَ مَكَانٌ أَعَدَّ اللَّهُ فِيهِ شَرَابًا لِأَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ, it is a place in which Allah has prepared a drink for the people of the garden. يَشْرَبُونَ مِنْهُ بَعْدَ عُبُورِ الصِّرَاطِ, they drink from it after crossing the bridge. قَبْلَ دُخُولِ الْجَنَّةِ, and before entering the garden. فَلَا يُصِيبُهُمْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ ظَمَأٌ, then they shall never after that be inflicted with thirst. وَإِنَّمَا يَشْرَبُونَ مِنْ شَرَابِ الْجَنَّةِ تَلَذُّذًا, and merely they drink the drink of the garden for pleasure. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِالشَّفَاعَةِ, and belief in the intercession. وَهِيَ تَكُونُ لِلْمُسْلِمِينَ فَقَطْ, and it shall be for the Muslims only. فَالْأَنْبِيَاءُ يَشْفَعُونَ, the prophets intercede. وَكَذَلِكَ الْعُلَمَاءُ الْعَامِلُونَ, and likewise the practicing scholars. وَشُهَدَاءُ الْمَعَرَكَةِ, and the battlefield martyrs. وَالْمَلَائِكَةِ, and the angels. وَالشَّفَاعَةُ هِيَ طَلَبُ الْخَيْرِ مِنَ الْغَيْرِ لِلْغَيْرِ, and intercession is someone's seeking goodness for another from another. أي أن الشفعاء يطلبون من الله إسقاط العقاب لبعض العصاة من المسلمين, meaning that the intercessors seek from Allah to waive the torture for some of the sinful Muslims. وقد فسر أهل السنة الشفاعة الأخروية بإسقاط العقاب. And the people of the prophetic way have explained the intercession of the afterlife as waiving the punishment. وذلك قد يكون قبل دخول النار, and that could be before entering the fire. وقد يكون بعده, and it could be afterwards. وذكر بعض العلماء الشفاعة لرفع الدرجة, and some scholars have mentioned intercession for elevation of status, not to be rescued from torture. وسيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم يختص بالشفاعة العظمى, and the greater intercession is special to our master Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. وهي للفصل بين الخلق, أي لتلخيصهم من الاستمرار في حر الشمس في الموقف, and it is for rescuing the slaves, the creations, the believers of course, from remaining in the heat of the sun on the station of Judgment Day. وقد سميت الشفاعة العظمى وقد سميت الشفاعة العظمى لأنها لا تختص بأمته فقط. And it was named the greater intercession because it is not particular to his nation only. بل ينتفع بهذه الشفاعة غير أمته. Rather, other than his nation shall benefit from this intercession, من المؤمنين, amongst the believers. لأن العذاب أنواع, because the torture is different kinds. ليس العذاب بدخول النار فقط. The torture is not only entering the fire. بل تسليط الشمس عليهم وهم في الموقف عذاب. Rather, unleashing the sun upon them while they are on the station, at the station, is a torture. والفضيحة هناك في ذلك المشهد عذاب, and being exposed there in that assembly is a torture. فبعض المسلمين يفضحون, some Muslims shall be exposed. ينادي عليهم الملك, the angel shall call out amongst the creations, هذا فلان ابن فلان, this is so and so, son of so and so. عمل كذا, he did such and such. لأن الخلق يكون عليهم وقوف حتى يقضى بينهم بصرفهم إلى الجنة أو إلى النار. Because the creations, they shall have an attendance. They shall be in attendance until there is judgment between them, and then they are taken to the garden or taken to the fire. حتى يقول الكافر من شدة البؤس الذي يقاسيه من حر الشمس, from the intensity of the disaster that the blasphemer encounters from the heat of the sun, he will even say, يا ربي أرحني ولو إلى النار. Oh my Lord, relieve me from the torture of the sun, even if by putting me in hell. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that the torture of hell is worse. He didn't even conceive that something could be worse than what he's experiencing. Subhanallah. عندئذ يقول الناس بعضهم لبعض. At that time, the people would say to each other, تعالوا لنذهب إلى أبينا آدم ليشفع لنا إلى ربنا. Come, let us go to our father, Adam, so that he could intercede for us to his Lord. فَيَأْتُونَ إِلَىٰ Adam. So they come to Adam. يَقُولُونَ يَا Adam. They say, oh Adam, أَنْتَ أَبُو الْبَشَرِ. You are the father of man. خَلَقَكَ اللَّهُ بِيَدِهِ أي أَنَّهُ لَهُ عِنَايَةٌ بِكَ. Allah has created you with a special status. وَأَسْجَدَ لَكَ مَلَائِكَتَهُ. And he made his angels prostrate to you. فَاشْفَعْ لَنَا إِلَىٰ رَبِّنَا. So intercede for us to our Lord. فَيَقُولُ لَهُمْ لَسْتُ فُلَانًا. And so he says to them, I am not the one. اذهبوا إلى نوح. Go to Noah. فَيَأْتُونَ نُوحًا. And so they go to Noah. فَيَطْلُبُونَ مِنْهُ. And they seek from him. ثُمَّ يَقُولُ لَهُمْ ائْتُوا إِبْرَاهِيمَ. And then he says to them, go to Abraham. فَيَأْتُونَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ. So they go to Abraham. ثُمَّ إِبْرَاهِيمُ يَقُولُ لَهُمْ لَسْتُ فُلَانًا. Then Abraham says to them, I am not the one. معناه أنا لست صاحب هذه الشفاعة. The meaning is that he's saying, I am not the performer of this intercession. فَيَأْتُونَ مُوسَى. And so they go to Moses. فَيَقُولُ لَهُمْ لَسْتُ فُلَانًا. And so Moses says to them, I am not the one. فَيَقُولُ لَهُمْ ائْتُوا عِيسَى. So he says to them, go to Jesus. فَيَقُولُ لَهُمْ عِيسَى لَسْتُ فُلَانًا. And then Jesus says to them, I am not the one. وَلَكِنْ اذْهَبُوا إِلَى مُحَمَّدٍ. But go to Muhammad. فَيَأْتُونَ النَّبِيَّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. And so they go to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. فَيَسْجُدُ النَّبِيُّ لِرَبِّهِ. So the Prophet shall prostrate to his Lord. فَيُقَالُ لَهُ. And then it will be said to him, إِرْفَعْ رَأْسَكَ. Raise your head. وَاشْفَعْ تُشَفَّعْ. Intercede, and the intercession shall be granted. وَسَلْ تُعْطَ. And ask to be granted. Yani ask so that you would be granted. هذه تسمى الشفاعة العظمى. This is called the greater intercession. لأنها عامة. Because it's general. ثم هناك شفاعات أخرى للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. And furthermore, there are other intercessions for the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. طيب, let's stop here. والله أعلم.